And what was amazing to me is it's not amazing that we recovered from the whatever you want to call the Dark Ages. It's amazing that they survived for so long, because there's this innate. Ultimately, people had to recognize how ridiculous some of the dogmas were. Just asking yourself the question, including Adam and Eve. I mean, ultimately, the self-contradictory issues of good and evil, of taking people, as you describe in Adam and Eve, who are completely innocent, and punishing them for something they have no idea is wrong. These questions must have been there, but there ultimately must have been an incredible fear. Well, there was an incredible fear of questioning, because if you questioned, your life was in peril.
But look, I agree. And of course, you couldn't stand up at a certain point and say, this story is absurd as an origin story. There are, I'll tell you 5 other ones that are better, and so forth and so on. So that's true. You would get in horrendous trouble. You wouldn't reproduce, survive. That said, for me, and you may not agree with this, you probably don't agree with this, but I couldn't have written this. I couldn't have spent years thinking about the Adam and Eve story and writing this book on the rise and fall of the Adam and Eve story if I believed that it was contemptible and ridiculous.
Oh, sure.
I think that it is incredibly powerful, including the things that are to us the most disturbing about the story, such as the fact that there's a prohibition not to eat of the tree of good and evil, when it's only if you understood something about the difference between good and evil that you'd know how to observe a prohibition. But that's Kafka.
Yeah.
That's not absurdity. Well, it is absurdity, but in an existential sense, that we're constantly confronted with situations like this. That's what it is to be, for one thing, it's what it is to be a child and not understand the nature of most of the rules, and yet have to be told that you have to obey them without horrendous consequences. And sometimes actually there are horrendous consequences, and so forth. In other words, when I thought it was only ridiculous people, if I thought it was only ridiculous people who have a theme park in which they ride dinosaurs in Kentucky, I wouldn't have wanted to take this seriously. It's actually understanding that some of the most intelligent and thoughtful people for centuries and centuries not only took this seriously, not because they were afraid, but because they thought there was something deep and important to learn from this, that it is one of the great human fictions. It's just a fiction. That's the thing that you have to understand. It's a fiction. It's a work of literature, but a work of literature, a tiny one, but in its way as powerful as King Lear, as powerful as anything where we think, yes, the Mahabharata, this is a deep way of thinking about the world.
So